Hello and welcome to the shed. Anyway, I've been flying my big Drak a few times now, and a few people have asked about the canard setup I've done, and how I've done it and how it's been flying and stuff. So this video is for you guys. I'm just going to run through my setup, how I got the canards to work, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. So, first of all, just do the basics. I'm running 8S and I've got two 10,000 4S's running parallel. They fit up in there nice and snug, and that gives me 8S running through a vector. Yep, I got a vector in there, and I've done the kind of the double snake connection or whatever you want to call it. I haven't got a clue what it's called, but I just made that up. So I've got the first battery. As you can see, one 4S battery plugged straight into the vector. The second battery is looped between the vector and the ESC. So behind here, that loops back round to the second battery connector, and then so the ESC is getting 4S. Sorry, the vector is getting 4S through the current sensor, but the ESC is actually getting 8S. Obviously I've cut the heat shrink away and put a half decent heatsink on it just to make sure it doesn't go pop. So in the vector settings, you just like the amps, sorry, the voltmeter volt range, I think it's on like 1.02 or something, just in standard. So just put that up to about 2.6, and then it'll read the true voltage you're getting through the batteries. The current sensor still haven't worked it out, but I don't think that one's working well because it constantly says 63 amps, and if you put it down to like 0.5 to have the current draw, it says 17 but still doesn't move anywhere. So I don't know what's happening with that, but it might just be a damaged current sensor. Could be the fact I knackered it running this setup, but who knows. The motor wise, I've got an SK5, is it? No, SK3, 50, 45, 500 kV. But at the moment I'm running a 12x6 master air screw. That's one, yeah, a 12x6 master air screw. In the unlimited amount of nut ragging, we get, motor doesn't get hot and the ESC isn't getting hot at all, so I could possibly prop it up a little bit. She will actually do vertical, not unlimited vertical, but she will go vertical for quite a while before she eventually runs out of guts. So it's a nice setup. Hopefully it's quite efficient. I need to change a prop to a APC one, because that's just a standard petrol one at the moment, and that's the rev range. I think 17,500 is actually on the limit of what that prop can do. So it's but obviously an APC one, I think it's rated slightly higher for 8S and 500 kV. So that's the boot. And you say in the bays at the back, these bays I've got nothing in them at all. Just basically just using them for cable connections. Get out. So cable connections, and I've got a couple of custom plugs there on this wing for a dragon link, which is actually buried inside the wing and you can't actually see it, so it's in there somewhere. All you've got is the live aerial sticking up. On the other side, just an aerial connection, and I think there's another plug in. Yeah, there's another plug in there for the video, and that is running a Magic video transmitter in there, and again that's all buried in the wing, so it's all nice and tidy, all nice and snug in there. So that's the two wings, not really much to see, just a standard right wing servos that I got quite a few years ago now, and they are actually looking pretty tidy. I think the wing's probably 4 or 5 years old now, so she is looking a bit, she was a bit tired, but now with a bit fresh coat over the old vinyl wrap, job done. Yeah, so I've done the chrome slots in the back, and obviously if you are laminating or tarting up your own up, you got to do these first and the orange goes over the top. That's how to get a nice cream crisp line. I've got the GPS in the centre there, which is a little bit controversial, but it works. And now this is the bit you've been waiting for, isn't it? Oh, the other thing I've done before we open the lid up, I've got the Josh's TPU nose mount and camera, and what he's done for me, because say the camera is designed for I think Hero 5 and above, and he's done me this little moulded, again TPU, so it's really flexible, but I must admit it is surprisingly tough. I was struggling to cut this with a very sharp knife, and it's rubber, but it's really tough rubber. So look at that. There aren't many 3D prints you can do that with. But anyway, that converts the Hero 3 and 4. Get that in there like that. So that sits in there really nicely, and again that just drops in there snug. And obviously I've got the charge lead because my batteries are a bit tired. I can charge it. Obviously the 4 and the 3 are slightly different screen sizes, but it works. You can see what you're doing. Anyway, let's get into the canards. Right, here we go. It's a bit messy in here at the moment because I had a bit of a rush on last Sunday on the funny farm, trying to squeeze the cameras in there. So I'll put a link to sort of kind of up here or up here somewhere, if I remember, about the funny farm video. And obviously it's got flights of this Daddy Drak in the videos there. So let's go in. So here we are. Like I say, it's a bit messy in here at the moment. I'm going to tidy it up before the next flight, just because these are your elevators. God, there's some good servos. And obviously you don't want those wires catching on the elevators, because you either lose FPV feed or you'll lose your elevator. Either way, it's not good news. So basically what I've got some 3D printed units. They've got 2 bearings in. They've got a bearing on the inside here, and I've got a bearing on the outside with the 6mm, turn it over, some 6mm carbon fibre running through. Obviously I can't move it because the servo's not moving, but you get the idea. And that bit there is just a piece of tube linking the two, just to give it a bit of extra lateral support. Ball links are a must, mainly because you get very little slop. The only slop I've got now is literally the top of the servo arm, so I might go full-size servos at some point, just to see if they're any stronger and stop that little bit of movement, because that movement there is the difference between climbing like something that climbs really well and diving into the deck like a roller coaster. So that's the setup really. Same again, we've got left and right versions printed off, and again 6mm carbon rod glued into the canard, and 2 actual roller bearings inside there, so there's very little movement. There's a little bit, because they say they're not, I think the shafts of the carbon fibre were 5.9, obviously classed as 6mm. Yeah, I got 6x9 roller bearings, I think, if I remember rightly, and the standard RC, I think a T25 clamp-on aluminium servo arms. And then now the T25 just clamps on nicely onto a 6mm carbon fibre rod. So again, you can buy the single screw, double screws, or whatever. So that's the setup in there. Obviously I've gone through the vector setup. Oh, another thing about the vector, obviously I've got each surface on a separate output of the vector. So I'm actually using the AUX 1 and AUX 2. I think that's probably not focusing it that close, but AUX 1 and AUX 2 on the vector, which I've googled it for ages, and I think me and Josh spent 4 hours one night trying to get the controls to work. Finally got there in the end. I started off trying to use channel 10, but because I'm using the head tracker port on the Dragon Link, V2 Dragon Link, the Dragon Link wants to put head tracker on 9 and 10, so 10 wasn't being picked up by the Vector. As soon as I figured that one out, I basically had to do the wizard as normal. So go through the Vector wizard, setting up. Of course, with this setup, it's classed as a standard plane. So like ailerons, elevator, rudder, that sort of plane. And set that up, go through the wizard, everything hunky-dory. Then go on to the servo options in the main menu, and the RC configuration, I think you call it, and set up the second elevator and a second aileron. Go into the big bottom right hand corner, set up the aux 1 and aux 2 as second elevator, second aileron. Then, this is the tricky bit, go into the Vector wizard again, go through that, but don't use the skip function when you come to do the primary stick movements. So it's called, basically called it's the skip. We call it the skip wizard. So you miss kind of half of it. It still does the calibration thing at the end, which is the bit you want, but also don't tick any of the secondary functions in the wizard. That's what messes it up. I don't know why. They might have fixed it by now, but the version I've got, basically you got to untick those, so you're not telling it in the wizard it's got second functions, you're telling it at the end in the function menu, if that makes any sense. And then it just works. And of course you can swap the travels around in the GX. I had no problems with which way round the surfaces were moving, but of course as you're moving left and right ailerons, if you've got it the wrong way, if they move the wrong way round, the easiest option is to swap them over. So left and right ailerons you can swap over, and the left and right canards you can swap over, which makes it really simple if they're going the wrong way to swap them over. So a bit of messing around, it was sweet really. Well, the only thing that really happened is that happened. The lid that goes on the back here, somehow, I'm not saying how, the screws are on the very last, pinch on the very last, they need to be about another 5mm longer, they're little plastic screws that go in there. These things, they need to be a pinch longer, which is quite annoying, and that got sucked off into the prop. The prop seemed to dice it up. I think I did a loop at the time.
Fucking hell, Andy! 10 out of 10! Jesus wept! I have no idea how Andy just landed that. No idea at all.
And then landed it on the pitch. Again, that's on the video. It's about halfway through, nearer the end somewhere, I don't know. But again, that's the only damage. Managed to land it with the lid stuck in the prop and hardly any canards. But we did find it was very tail heavy to start with, and if I just close the lids up quickly, I'll show you where my CFG ended up, which I think was about the absolute limit of where you want it to be for flying with canards. So I'm going to go from the front of the spar cap. I think the standard flight is about inch and 3/4 or inch and 1/4, about here is the standard CFG. The CFG at the moment I've got it to there, and I'd say that was the absolute limit if you want it at the back. I'm still probably going to go another ½ inch, possibly another inch in front. So I think somebody in the group said, that's RC Rebels, I think somebody in the group said you've got to be at least 4 inches which obviously that mine's at 3 inches at the moment. Well, I'm going towards nearer 4 inches, so that's going to be pretty bob on, I think. And again, I don't know how long I'm going to keep these canards on, because again, it's easy to do. I can undo the clamps, pull those out. All it leaves is 6 more holes in the side, which I can get some plastic bungs for, and then just set up the Vector as you normally would do for a Drak. And nobody's none the wiser. Still got some. This is my first attempt laminating. Didn't think it turned out too badly. That's sorry, not first attempt first attempt wrapping. Very forgiving. I can recommend the 5D carbon for beginners, because that's certainly helped me out. Anyway, that's me not waffling on. I'll put a couple of videos of me doing that around the sky. And I'll see if I can pinch somebody else's video of the launch, because obviously I was driving. I didn't have any cameras on at the time. And there we go. So enjoy the next couple of minutes of me dicking around and crashing, and thanks for watching. So bye for now.
Andy, good luck, mate. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Come on, I got 2 minutes on the camera left.
Manual.
No, manual.
What's those wings on the front of it?
Yeah, those funny things.
Mallards.
That's the fuck it.
There's no roll in them, is there?
No. That's correct.
Alright.
Right.
Ready? Yeah.
Is that flying alright? Fuck me.
Oh fuck. Can you switch those cameras off? No, because they're up and down. What's it like, pitchy? It'll be very pitchy, won't it? Oh, so it's not air bombs then?
No, it's full blown canards.
It looks like. Have you got it on Vector yet?
No. Vector now.
That was straight down then, wasn't it?
Right.
Right, that's small on the camera. Apologies.
450% better than the first time.
But like, and a million a plus.
I didn't see what happened first time.
You don't want to see what happened the first time. It was that scary.
It looks cool with canards.
Mate, it is Starfighter, isn't
It
it?
is, yeah. That needs a turbine, Andy. It needs a turbine.
I think it needs 2.
Yeah. Yeah. That needs 2 turbines.
Turbines on the
It's
canards.
that just looks cool, doesn't it?
I'm trying to track it the best I can. Right, I got 1 minute left on the camera, so we'll be back in a moment. You're fine. You're fine. That's good. What the?
I just...
Yeah, don't push it. Don't push it. You've got all day. You've got like 1 million ampere hours in it anyway.
I'm going to come in the normal way so I'm getting lower.
Yeah.
On the dogs.
Wind's got a bit more southerly now. Yeah, knock that power off a bit, Andy.
He's got it.
That's it, that's it. We'll all move. We're already moving. That's good.